Now this is a story all about how the women of America's rights came about. Now we'd like to thank APUSH because she was so clutch. We'll tell you all about how she was graced by God's touch.
In Massachusetts Bay, where the Puritans had to say, Anne Hutchinson tried to do it her own way. All single women had no property rights, no legal identity apart from their nights. In Chesapeake Bay, where the women were few, their status became higher than the England of new. When John Adams' wife came up on the hill, she thought women's rights were a pretty big deal. Now I got one little quote, so listen up, dear. She said, "Remember the ladies hate John, don't you hear?"
The Republican moms, they dropped some new bombs where the children were raised with virtuous ways. Now the Republican women became mothers and wives, and this cult of domesticity changed their lives.
In Lowell, Massachusetts, where jobs started to appear, they told women and children, "We've got work for you here." At the Seneca Falls, where there were no balls, Stanton and Mott came up with a plot including voting, property, equal education. All came up in the Sentiments Declaration.
Now before the Civil War, the conditions were poor. The women wanted slavery and booths to be no more. Then my girl Sarah Grimke put up a good fight. She fought for the slaves and women all night.
Now there's another Adams, Jane this time. She opened a Hull House for the working man's dime. Now listen up here, this will be on the test. The 19th Amendment freed women from unrest. 1920 was the golden year for women's right to vote did appear.
Women's Christian Temperance Union founded Carrie Nation, convinced women they had a moral obligation to improve society for the next generation.
Dorothea Dix had some real fly kicks. She worked with the mentally ill to find a fix. Margaret Sanger started a birth patrol, so all of her friends advocated birth control. In 1920, the women of the Flapper Nation cut off their hair to create a new generation. The women in the workforce were barely paid $1, so then they were hated on, they let out a holler.
The feminist movement began to decline because the women of America stopped trying to whine. The 19th Amendment gave them freedom to vote, and the flapper generation rocked the boat.
FDR's New Deal rocked the states, while he and Eleanor got into some debates. She said, "Honey, please don't forget, the women, my dear, I'm afraid you've missed it." In the Second World War, the women were not poor. While the men were away, the women got paid. More jobs were created and the women got elated.